Do you feel like Olandria and Nick's relationship is real? Is this you thinking, or is this your answer? I'm gonna assume that that's your answer.
A few moments later.
I've hurt people along the way from, for example, even with the whole Nicolandria situation, when I spoke on that, like that's me speaking from hurt.
Yeah.
It was more like bro, Nick just hurt my feelings. You know, I didn't feel like he had my back.
You cannot fake redemption. I see a lot of influencers and reality TV stars making this mistake. They think rebranding means changing what they say or what they said, but that's not what rebranding is. Branding is all about storytelling. Rebranding is changing the story that people, the fans, the audience, believes about you. I would say that Chelley has been quietly rebranding without publicly saying anything, and Clarke and Ace have actually actively, with saying something, are actively trying to rebrand.
I think a lot of people, they get into it just for the love of just like creating content for inspiring people. They didn't realize that there was a business side to it.
So suddenly their messaging is changing. Suddenly their tone is changing. And that's where the branding conversation starts for me. And one problem that I'm seeing is that people are conflating image and narrative. They're not the same thing. On the surface level, folks are saying things like, Ace is growing up. You know, it sounds like he's taking accountability now. Ace is young, he's growing up, he's learning. Chelley is moving on. In fact, she's moved on. Clarke has matured. She's come around. In fact, maybe she was always a nice girl. Maybe, in fact, she always liked Olandria. You know what? Fine. Let's be fair. Maybe all of those things are true. Growth is possible. We're all human beings. Sure. But I think what these influencers are missing is the fact that the audiences, all of us, we're not asking, have they changed or have they whatever. We don't care about that. We care about whether we truly believe them. That's the difference. That's the nuance right there. When Clarke says,
can we just stop? If it is coming with any kind of negative connotation to anyone, we can say other things, guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that serious.
When Ace says,
I hurt myself, I hurt them in the process, and that's something where, you know, we talked about it that same week and we smoothed things over and cool, but it put a damage on all of our relationship. And that's something that it hurts to this day because, you know, these are people who I was friends with in the village for a while, you know, and, you know, you try and move on, you try and, you know, next play it, but, you know, you always want to still right your wrongs.
Right.
And I was definitely wrong for that situation. And
do we actually believe them? That's the power of branding. It's that your story, your brand story, your narrative is believable. Trust is not manufactured through just words. When I say trust, I actually mean brand trust, okay? Trust is actually created through narrative consistency. Before, during, and after the show, were you the same person? I think a lot of them want to just kind of skip or bury or kind of warp the old story that we all saw on the show and that we learned and watched in real time for this full year. You cannot skip over what's happened. So they can't move forward in their brand story without reconciling what happened with the old brand story, which is very much connected to Nick and Olandria for all of them. in fact, because of the fact that one, yes, they were all on the same show, but two, everyone is now relevant, no shade, because of Nick and Olandria. In fact, in order for most of us to care, they either have to reference or actually say Nick and Olandria. And I think they haven't wrestled with that. They haven't really consolidated their feelings with this fact yet.
Have you been able to lean on Olandria as you figure out the A situation?
I definitely leaned on like my friends, my family, and like, you know, kind of, they gave me a lot of comfort in this, and even being able to speak about it. It's hard to talk about, and it's like, when is the right time? But there's never a right time. It's kind of just a thing of like, you know, let's put it to rest and find peace with it. So my friends and family definitely helped me with that.
Are you and Olandria still cool?
Olandria is, yeah, like I'm sure she's doing great.
Okay, I didn't want to read into it, but I was like thinking, I was like, wait, when I mentioned like, did she lean on Olandria? She didn't like actually. I was like, are they okay? Because I can't deal with an Olandria and Chelley breakup. Like that would be more devastating than UNA's to me.
No, I mean, I just was answering just like, you know, my family and friends,
your
like,
whole
you know,
support system.
so that's really
and like the people who have 100% been there for you.
Exactly, yeah. So
and giving you the time and everything like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm glad things are good in that arena. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Chelley, and is it just me? Have you ever been the villain in someone else's story? You know, I would like to think not, but I think I have, absolutely. But I also do think they're delusional. No, let me stop.
And a lot of fans, a lot of Nicolandrians like myself see that. We see it very clearly, and a lot of us might be projecting our own feelings onto them. Sure. Maybe that's the case, okay? But still, tell us what actually happened from your perspective. Let us know what the old story was, consolidate that with us, and then you can move forward. And then you can move forward with rewriting a new narrative, a new brand story. But if your brand story is rooted in envy, jealousy, projection, hatred, all of those things, if that's what you initially presented us and you haven't consolidated that either on a personal level or on a professional level, it makes it really, really hard for the audience to believe you when you're presenting a new story, when you're presenting an apology that you want us to accept as the audience who now is supposed to support you. For what? Give us a good reason. You can't skip over that. And that's the real thing that, like, that's the crux of it. Like, we don't remember the apologies, the PR statements, okay, Clarke? We don't remember these things. We actually remember stories and narratives.
You know, you try and move on, you try and, you know, next play it, but, you know, you always want to still right your wrongs.
Right.
And I was definitely wrong for that situation. And
a few moments later.
I am no psychologist. My thing is marketing, branding, web design. But that apology felt insincere for me. That's just me though. Let me know what you think. Was it believable? Like, were you moved? Were you actually moved by that?
I felt like from the beginning, going back to that Disney trip, Ace expected him and Chelley to be the stars and to be bigger than Nick and Nicolandria. I think because in the villa, Nick and Nicolandria may have been a bit submissive to Ace and Chelley, where Ace and Chelley had stronger personalities and who were more aggressive and assertive in the villa, and then Nick and Nicolandria were not. And I think they expected that dynamic to continue, but then they come out and Nick and Nicolandria are much more well known and well liked than they are. And I think it threw them for a loop. And I think in particular, it made Ace very angry and bitter.
Seeing everybody and seeing everybody's fits, we had a lot of well-dressed people in the building. I would like to say we were top 3 and not number 2 or 3.
Right.
Their actions seemed self-interested, and that's the main problem for me. So the timing is probably the most problematic part of all of this. Ace waited so long to finally apologize. The fact that Clarke waited this long to finally let us know that actually she doesn't like it when her fans say, I picked Clarke, and she wanted to use it in the more Clarke-it way, which was anyway.
I agree. I think too, there's not, especially because, at least Clarke-it was a main.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a major.
That.
Yeah.
That's cute.
But that other one, it feels like it was bringing down another woman, and that's not what we're about.
I completely agree. Like, I don't know, even still to this day, I get people that'll come up to me and they'll be like, can I record a video or a TikTok of us? And I'm like, I'm not doing that one, sorry.
Not that I play Clarke one.
No.
Yeah.
Let's do Clarke-it, like, something else, please. But I completely agree. Like, I don't go for that.
Okay.
Because of this, a lot of fans are asking, are they actually sorry, or are they actually remorseful with this rebranding, or are they just trying to save their brands? I think Chelley is probably the most strategic of the 3 in that she hasn't said much, if anything at all, and she's left the audiences, right, all of us, to kind of write the story for her. That's probably the problem with Chelley's branding, is that how she's sort of writing that narrative, or trying to write that narrative, she's leaving too much up to her fans.
You really want to make sure your brand has a message, and that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of people. They sell the product, they want to push the product or push the service, but there's no message behind it. There's no connecting point. So you really want to make sure that you know what your brand is saying and that is translating to your consumer.
That is on the first level. On the second level is the fact that her fans are then too reactive to what's happening in other fan bases, right? And not proactive with what's happening with Chelley. The opposite happens with Nicolandria stans. The opposite happens with Leah and Miguel. The opposite happens, more importantly, probably most importantly, the opposite happens with Serena and Cordell. And I say this most importantly because they're the most similar. They're also a Black love, a hashtag Black love couple. So like they are the most comparative, right? And Serena and Cordell are absolutely loved, and they have a strong fan base that is very, very supportive, that is not scattered, distracted, and reactive.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I went on the show, I did not expect to really find someone on there, and I did, and I love it. It's crazy. It's like, it's been one of the best experiences, best summers that I've ever had in my 22 years of living. Like, it's crazy though. And I met her. Like, you don't meet this too often. This is special. So,
girl, how that make you feel? We blushing for you, like.
Good.
Look at her blushing, y'all. That's my makeup.
Right.
Speaking of timing, redemption requires time. Like sometimes you just need to go away for a little bit, give it some time, you know, focus on your healing, your growth, all of those things, and then pop out later. And this is the part that is, the most uncomfortable. Rebranding is an entire process. It takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. It's painfully slow, and that's why they work. That is exactly why rebranding works. It takes hella time. And you know what's interesting? There are folks who actually like contrarian people. There are fans of sort of villains, right? In literature, in films, in music, in art, in television, in the media. There are lots of fans of villains. Villains are necessary a lot of the times. People who have the image of the main girl, main guy, the villain, right? They either lean into it and become iconic, i.e. New York, Omarosa, maybe Rob, you know, you either lean into it or you try to rebrand using your true story, using what is the most authentic to you without pandering, okay? Without lying and without trying to skip what actually happened. You have to face what happened. However you navigate it, you have to move through it. You can't skip over it. You can't go around it. You can't go under. The only way out is through. You do have to face whatever has happened, especially Ace. And I'm hardest on him because I think he caused the most damage to his friends, okay? But also he is the youngest as well. So I think his learning curve is steeper. Nope, it's not because he's the youngest. I think that is a part of it for sure. But I think more importantly, his ego is the biggest. So his ego has a steeper learning curve than everybody else. And the thing is, villains who are iconic, they don't lean into it just cause. They always have a reason. First of all, they become iconic not simply because they're messy. Like you can't just be messy for messy's sake. You know, it gets the folks going for a little bit, but it's like a spark and then it dies out very, very quickly. And especially with New York, she had the villain thing, she leaned into it and then she expanded it.
I'm Tiffany New York Pollard, and I'm best known for being on The Flavor of Love. I was known for being very feisty and outspoken on the show. I was supposed to put them bitches in their place, and that's what I did 24/7.
So she wasn't only mean, she was also funny. She hilarious. The memes alone. She was hilarious. She was smart. And then we later on saw how she was actually thoughtful and caring. A little crazy sometimes, but like that made her funny. And eventually we were like, actually, nope, she's necessary. We need her. We need her on our TV screens for years to come. Please leave her.
I'm the original HBI mother C, and I deserve my spot here in the House of Villains.
We went from hating her to loving her. It wasn't instant, absolutely not. I mean, I watched Flavor of Love in like high school or something, and I'm 35 now, and I'm still a huge fan of New York. Like, that's the thing. So like, you can absolutely use the whole villain thing. Like, you can use it to your advantage, but you can't use it in a way where you think you're trying to outsmart the audience as if. So that's the main thing with folks like New York and Omarosa. They were initially mean. We met them as mean girls. Absolutely. They did not stay there. They still used that. They faced that, first of all. They didn't lie about it or try to skip over it or like rewrite it or like rewrite history or all of those things. They were like, actually, yeah, that's right. And they leaned into it, they expanded, and then they elevated later on over time. So that is one way to move through this. Another way is the harder way, right? Is to actually take accountability and then prove atonement through your actions. That takes so much therapy, so much growing, so much looking at yourself in the mirror. It takes so much work.
And one of the biggest recommendations I have is that one of the hardest things for people is to change how they react to things, to change how they talk in scenarios. And the biggest tool you have is pausing. If someone asks you a question, if you have a scenario come up, taking a moment to think. Because we overthink it. We don't want to pause. We want to just rush into things. Other people won't even notice. You take a breath, you think. If you consider what you're going to say before you say it, it's almost good, almost respectable. But you should need to have that split-second moment of, am I immediately reacting or what would I actually want to say? Have that inner narrative, have that moment, adjust, and then act.
No matter which way you land, you do have to move through it. Like you do have to face the music. And that is how you actually cultivate narrative evolution. It won't happen in months. If you think that's the case, then I don't know what to tell you. Because the thing is, New York never rewrote history.
Looking back, were you really in love with Flavor Flav?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of books and everything. I feel like a young scholar. It's like going down a roller coaster wearing nipple clamps. Oh, what that mean? When I saw a dick for the first time, I didn't know that there were nuts involved. So I thought that it was a dick under the dick, which is very intimidating. Can I see the D? Can I say the D word?
You can say whatever you want. You have been, by the way.
I have been? Oh, Omarosa is choking on a big fat dick!
Yeah. Is it okay to slut shame women if you disagree with their politics?
Yeah.
The only thing is she added context and so much layers. She added nuance. And I think that's what we're missing with these new crops of influencers and reality TV stars is the fact that you can't rush things and you shouldn't try to, like, you have the time. So can Ace, Chelley, and Clarke rebrand? The answer is yes. Of course they can. Anyone can rebrand. I have 1,000,000 times. The real question is how? The answer is quite simple. I have repeated it throughout this video. Actions speak louder than words. Instead of trying to convince us that you have changed or that you never liked this thing or that you were never this way and you're actually this way or that whatever. Instead of trying to convince us, how about you just show us?
You need the repetition of being this new person to actually become it. And that time, that year, needs complete dedication to what is this like until you are it.
Instead of trying to rewrite the old story, try to create new evidence for a new story. Try to present evidence for a new story of who you actually are now. And I think the person who might be doing that the most is actually Chelley.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. I can only just be so grateful because I think about what I wanted last year before the show happened, before I even knew I would have stepped into this world. I had to ask myself, like, do you remember what you wanted before all this? And I'm living it. And there's only more to come. So it's been a phenomenal year. A lot of trials and tribulations, but overall, I'm grateful for it. No regrets.
On one level, she stayed quiet, and that I think that hurt her brand more than it helped. I don't know, right? Because anyway, the fact is though that She has done the most in terms of her actions. She has done the most to move her narrative away from the old story. Her old story is still, it's still too raw for a lot of people. So her new story hasn't really been cemented yet.
Which Islanders are you still friends with today? Honestly, I'm pretty like cordial with everyone, but I would have to say Clarke, Sierra, Andreina, like those are my girls. I love them bad, so love them. Shout out to them. Did you ever feel producers trying to push a narrative? We're gonna take a shot to that. Okay. Oh, what the? Delicious. Why wasn't Chelley on Beyond the Villa? I had enough of the villa. I had my fun in there. I don't think I needed to take it beyond that. You get it? No, I'm kidding. But seriously, I was just like, nah, I think I'm good.
I think she's working towards her new narrative, her new story. Will it work? Time will only tell, especially with a new crop of influencers from this new season of Love Island. We will see how everything plays out in the end. And honestly, this is a lesson not only for these stars and influencers. This is a lesson for creators, for brands, and for regular folks like you and me. This is a lesson for all of us. It's an old one, okay? Actions speak louder than words. And use that internally, not externally. Always think my actions will speak louder than my words. So I should focus on that first instead of just yapping for hours on podcasts. The process of rebranding is not about managing your reputation. It's actually about managing your narrative or your story. That's the misconception that I'm seeing, and I hope folks correct it sooner than later. This is not a video about whether forgiveness is possible or whatever. This is about why storytelling matters. Rebrands won't happen from simply telling us that you've changed. Rebrands happen when we start believing who you are now through your actions, through your consistent, repeated actions over time, which is why you cannot rush this process. It's not something that happens overnight. The goal is not to rewrite or escape your old narrative. The goal is to extend and evolve from that. And you can't extend and evolve from it if you're trying to rewrite it and sort of bury it and quiet the noises. There's just so much to it, but I wanted to focus on this in a solution lens. That was my goal with this video, and I hope I achieved that. I hope I made you a new subscriber to my channel. Thank you so much for your support, liking the video, hyping the video, all of the good stuff. And yeah, let's continue on this conversation in the comments because I am anxious to hear what you have to say. Okay, so let me know your thoughts on my thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.